Today's interview is with David Schwan. David Schwan talks a lot about mindset. He talks about A, B, and C goals, and breaks it down how he differentiates all that. So, fun interview, cool guy. Really enjoyed talking about anything to do with mindset. So I enjoyed talking with David. So enjoy today's interview. As always, like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And then on the WWRE podcast, if you really get value and enjoy this like I did, please like and give me a 5-star rating and write a review. And also, I mentioned this a few times now that I'm looking to speak to more of you that love real estate investing, that are interested in real estate investing, that are just starting out, have some experience, have a ton of experience, whatever it is. There's going to be a link in the description below, and also if you go to the wrestlingwithrealestate.com, there's going to be a sign-up page for there. I'd love to get on a 30-minute call and get to know what you're all about. So yeah, please check it out. Fun interview today talking about mindset, ABC goals. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler, and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor. Now today, we have David Schwan with us. And David, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be on the show. I'd love sitting down and chit-chatting and talking about real estate, especially multifamily. So, thank you for inviting me to be on the show.
Cool. I'm excited about today's talk. But before we kind of get into the meat of it, do you want to give a little bit of an explanation of who you are, what you've done?
Yeah. Like I said, I am a real estate enthusiast. I am a podcast host, and I'm also a coach. My podcast is REI Spotlight. We have about 50 episodes on that. I've spent the last 20 plus years in in construction sales and management. And now I've decided to take all that block of knowledge and be able to take and help other individuals grow their business to that next level and be able to, just help them grow and be the best entrepreneur and business people that they can be.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. So tell us a little bit about what you did in you said you were your first job at sales.
It's I've bounced around in a lot of construction related industries. The last one I was in was roofing, but I've done material sales and been around some been in construction since 1999. So that's dating myself a little bit there. But no, I'd help people build multi-million-dollar businesses, and and I'm like, look, I can be more of service to other people by helping them by taking my knowledge and expanding on that, and helping them get further along with my knowledge. It's kind of like anything in life. If you want to learn how to do something, you can always be the knucklehead and just go straight up and just try to do it all by yourself. But those who always, go further are the ones who decide that, look, okay, I'm going to find somebody who is doing this that is already successful, and let me see what little pieces of knowledge I can get from them. Mentors and coaches don't necessarily have to be, high paid. You don't have to go get these high paid people. You can get, you can glean little pieces of knowledge for free on just about any subject anywhere. And then you kind of start building your knowledge base, and then you can kind of build from there. But now you but if you have a coach, they're able to give you a system that already works, and they can push you, and you get to leap off of their shoulders instead of, jumping off the ground. You get to climb up on the ropes a little bit and jump off the ropes. You kind of get that lift up, so you're starting on a higher plane than you would just by yourself. And, I just figured that being able to help people be able to take that leap, that just, it just started something in my soul. And it's like, no, this is what I need to be doing.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm sure anyone who works for you are very grateful that you decided to make that decision, because I agree with you about the coaching thing, because, there's, like you said, you can leap off their shoulders, but also at the same time, you're learning from their mistakes as well, not just your own. They've made a lot of mistakes, and usually if they're, they've been successful in their field, or they have experience, you're getting the benefit of them making this mistakes rather than you.
That definitely, it's always about, just learning the basics and learning from those that have trudged the path before. We were, we were talking before we started recording about Welsh names and how these names had traveled, across the ocean, but it's being able to take that knowledge, and those people had to forge a path to where they got to in this new country. People hadn't made that path before, so it's easier for the second guy to come along and go, oh, this guy already cut this path for me. Mm-hmm. So let me just walk down his path instead of, oh, I'm going to get over top of this mountain. But no, that guy cut a path, but instead of, trying to, learn from his, I'm going to cut my own path. And it's like, why do all the work that somebody else has already done? And especially if it's people who are willing to share their knowledge and help you, learn your craft and learn your trade, you just take off from what they give you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, if you try and blaze your own path, it might take you twice as long. You might zigzag up that mountain, just like that's a great example. And, you have a successful path that's been blazed before. Just follow that path. It's, it's as simple as that a lot of times.
Yeah. So success usually is not all that difficult. It's usually just finding somebody that has done it, and, watch them and figure out what they've done, and then just go repeat it. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've baked a cake or nothing, or baked a cake before, or followed any recipe really. It's, if you follow the recipe, usually these are the results. And, in most things in life, especially in real estate, it's like, look, the chances are that, every once in a while something goofy happens, but most likely if you take their recipe and you follow exactly every step that is in the recipe. And this is where a lot of people get off track is, somebody gives them the recipe and they want to do step 1, 2, 4, and 5 and skip, 3 and 6, and it's like, no, you have to, when somebody gives you a recipe, when somebody gives you those directions, and especially if you've seen the results of what they've been able to provide, you just follow what the map and the recipe that they've laid out in front of you, and you get to the same place without having to taste a whole lot of bad cake.
I don't like bad cake. I don't know how about you. I like chocolate cake. That's my kind of cake.
Yeah. It's but that's the whole thing. You just have to follow your mentors. I mean, we're all being mentored by somebody. I mean, there's always somebody in front of you, and just pay attention to what they are. What they're telling you to do. Pay attention to those that have blazed that path in front of you.
Great advice for anyone out there who's thinking about having a culture. Maybe doesn't have one and is sitting on the fence about it. It's an absolute no-brainer in my book. So
definitely. And as far as like your it's just follow those that are in front of you, and take that, usually, and that helps you be able to keep that positive and that successful mindset is like, look, I have somebody that it has proven that what this, that system is such a mindset shift that, you're following a system. It's like, look, you can be positive that this works because you have proof that it works. It just makes life so much more, so much more rewarding and fun when you have a good system in place.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, at the start, you mentioned that you have your own podcast called REI Spotlight. So tell us a little bit about that and what you kind of focus on.
That I focus on being able to. It's focused on multifamily and the different parts and pieces. I've had insurance agents, I've had realtors, I've had other multifamily syndicators, I've had other podcast hosts. And it's been I've learned so much doing it that it's like, look, I'm not shamelessly plugging my podcast to anybody. It's like, look, go listen. I've been fortunate enough to have, 50 people who are all proven winners in the real estate field, to be able to have them, share their knowledge and pass their knowledge on to me. And I've been fortunate enough to have, people from all over the country be able to share their time and their wisdom with me, to learn this game of multifamily investing that we all strive to get into. And, I've learned, the ins and in and outs of, prospecting for property, finding the property, running your due diligence, what all you should include in your due diligence, your due diligence checklist, and we've dived into a lot of somebody who wants to be a passive investor, because and getting into the multifamily game, if you don't have the money or the know-how to get into a big deal and be able to hire those big name coaches or the high-end coaches, there's ways for you to buy, some books and some knowledge, and then, be able to listen to podcasts and YouTube videos like this that, they give you those little bits and pieces of knowledge. And, but I've been able to gain that knowledge. So that is, that's been amazing to be able to do that, and just to get all the little nuances and all the little pieces and get that's been an amazing part of being on the podcast.
Great. And it sounds like you're just like me. You have a big love for multifamily investing. Tell us a little bit about why you like multifamily investing. I know why I love
multifamily is I'd have to say really just the community in general. We have a lot of paid coaches out there, and there's a lot of guys that, they deserve to earn the money that they do, but this community just overall in general is very sharing with the knowledge, and very much care about making sure that overall most of them are really good people and they want to see you succeed. It's just such a loving family overall in the multifamily space. That was one of the first things I noticed when I started talking to a lot of the people in this space, that they just love sharing and love giving of their knowledge and of their time to help educate people who are, starting. And then, then you get into, the security of it, where, if you have 100 doors, and one person moves out, you're at 99% occupancy, where, if it's a single family home that you're dealing with, somebody moves out, well, you went from 100% occupied to 0. And, I was like that, just the numbers of scale, along with, taxes and tax write-off and profits and depreciation. And, I could sit here and it's kind of an open-ended question. I could sit here and talk 20 minutes just easily about, this is why I like it, and, but I think, along with the taxes and the family, like I said, it's the fact that it's a team sport, and I like team sports. I like being able to focus in on what my talent is, because if you're doing single family homes and you're, especially if you're starting out, you are everybody. You're the GC, you're the property manager, you're doing all these tasks, and it, to me, we all do better when we can focus in on one single task and go, hey, this is what I do. It's like, look, and there's so many people out there that like so many different parts and pieces that, look, if I don't like doing underwriting, which actually I enjoy going over the underwriting, I don't like putting all the numbers together. I enjoy afterwards. But I know a bunch of people that, it's like, look, they're geeks over it. It's like, look, give me a spreadsheet, give me numbers. And, it's like, it's like a kid on Halloween and you're giving them a 5-pound bag of candy. They're like, yay, I love it, So it's like, let people, with it being a team sport like that, it's like, let those people who enjoy and have a specific talent, who, underwriting's easy for some people, networking and speaking with, with brokers and owners, and, getting, doing the, doing all the getting to know people. And, some people who their people skills are better, they get along with people better. Just everybody, we all have our own little niche that this is our wheelhouse. This is the stuff that, it's awesome when you're able to get a specific niche in it and you've built a team around it and everybody loves their little seat on the bus. It's like, look, if you opened them up and you said, look, you can sit anywhere on the bus, that everybody would just go to their seat where you have them plugged in at, and that's where they'd want to go. I mean, to me, that when you're trying to build a team, that's what you want. You want everybody in their own little, in their own little thing. But it's amazing how fast and how well you can move when everybody is in the right spot and nobody's fighting to be into a different spot, or wanting to be there. It's like, look, just take what you're good at. And, it's like, look, if you're good at this and I'm good at this and we put them both together, well, both of us are better off than being by ourselves. So, I think that the teamwork aspect of it, just is what really draws me to it, just because, deals are big enough. There's enough money to have a team and have teamwork. There's plenty to go around. So I think that's part of why multifamily just draws me in so much, and why I love that specific asset class so much.
I love that. I love that analogy as well of the bus. You want people sitting where they're comfortable and where they love to sit, but also you don't want two people sitting in one seat either. You don't want two people who you don't want to partner up with someone who's analytical and you're analytical yourself. You want an outgoing, usually with an analytical person. It's a great mix because, like you said, one can go out and talk to brokers, meet investors, and do the outgoing side, and the other guy can be the numbers and the putting the spreadsheets together and whatnot. So, and it usually makes a good team. And I love that fact that you love the team aspect, because the team aspect is so important with multifamily. It's a
Definitely.
team sport. You hear it time and time again, and that's because it's absolutely true. It's a team sport. You can't be doing everything yourself. In single family, you kind of can. You can get away with it. You can be wearing 10 different hats, like you mentioned, but you're limited to how far you're going to grow, how much you're going to grow, and you have a ceiling, right, of kind of where you can grow with that. But if you allocate everyone to a specific task and a specific job in that team, you can grow exponentially, and it's amazing. You can add people to that team and just keep growing and keep growing.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, look, and it doesn't have to, you just have to have those people that just get that passion and get the part, because I think you go, well, it doesn't, if you're doing your passion, it doesn't feel like work. It's not a labor. It's what you enjoy doing. So you put more into it, and the more you put into it, the more you get out. So it's like, look, if I enjoy doing looking at spreadsheets, well, it's not a task for me to look at where maybe I'm like, by the third set of spreadsheets that I've went through, I might be going, okay, I'm about beat here, and somebody else has gone, oh, I just got into my third spreadsheet. It's like, yeah, you got 8 more to go through. Yay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's, but But when we're all going, yay, awesome, I mean, just think of the attitude of everybody. You don't have to, if everybody's happy and enjoys what they're doing, bad attitudes don't come in. You don't get that rough attitude. I mean, we may have, we're all going to have trials and stuff to get through, but if you have a group of happy people who are doing stuff that they want, then if when stuff pops up, it's not as quite a big a deal. Something bad happens to a room full of people who are happy versus something happens to a room full of people who are all miserable and grumpy. The attitudes that are in there and the results are just so much different. It's like, look, if you got a whole bunch of grumpy people and something bad happens, the room blows up. If it happens to a room full of positive people, it's like, okay, well, let's look around, let's figure out what we got to do. And you go on. It's being the difference in between responding and reacting. Reacting, that's just nature. That's just your core just reacting. We do whatever, and a lot of times when we react, we don't always, there's not really thought behind reacting. And if nobody's all happy, you're going to react. Where if you're happy and you're thinking clear-headed, you're able to think about the situation and be able to respond. And then responding comes from a much more natural place. And you think, oh,
we nearly lost you there.
But that's once when you're able to respond, just life's much easier, much easier to just be able to do everything from a respond instead of react standpoint.
Yeah. Well, we're emotional human beings, right? Emotion drives so much of our decisions and the way we think. And if you can try and take that emotion out, like you said, if you're in a happy place rather than a grumpy place, your decision making, I think, and would imagine, is a lot clearer than.
Definitely. That being able to come from that clearer spot, it just helps you so much it's just easier. Again, back to teamwork and making sure that, your team members, it's like, look, if you're, we all can't be the best at everything. We all have our personal best. So, I think it's Gary V's kind of, he says, don't focus on what your weakness is, focus on what you're good at, and then find somebody else that is strong in your weaknesses and partner up with them. And you all get there a lot faster because we all have our strong suits and we all have our weak suits. And, sometimes you have to work on the weak stuff, because that makes you grow to that next level to be you. And then other things, it's like, look, that learning that task, learning that whatever that I'm not really all that strong at, it doesn't affect me if somebody else knows how to do that and they just give me reliable information. I just only have to learn enough to know that it's reliable information that they're giving me, which that means that's a lot less that I have to learn how to do. And then I can concentrate more on my strength. I think we all get much further when we're able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Growing up, I always heard, well, focus on your weak points because that's your weak points. But to me, a lot of times your weak points, I was big into sports. So, whatever I was a soccer player, believe it or not, many moons ago, but I could only kick mainly with one leg. And I was always told, well, improve the other leg, improve the other leg, improve the other leg. But to me, the reason I was good at one leg was that was my favorite leg. That's how my brain and my body functioned. It was a natural thing. Yeah. So then to try and force it to learn the other leg, it took away from my right leg. And I actually, as a player, I got worse when I tried that. So I went back to focusing on my strength, which was my right leg. And I could use that. I could play around it. And I became a better player by improving that one strength I had, which was my right leg. And just, using other players, because I would stay on the right side of the field, and then having other players play on the left side of the field that were good with their left legs, So I think that's important for people to understand that, you concentrate on your strengths and you get someone else to fill in your weakness, and you'll spend a lot of time and you'll get a lot further, I believe.
Yeah. That's to me that is, that's where that's where you can grow. I mean, now if you've gotten to the point where this skill is, it's like, look, I've maxed out this skill and I still want to grow, then yeah, then find something. But wait until you've maxed out your strengths, and then worry about working on your working on your weaknesses and growing that area. But make sure that you're working on your strengths, so that you don't let your strengths get weaker, because that's where you can really shine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is really interesting to me. I love this stuff, the kind of mindset stuff. And we talked before we got on, but so you said you're a coach, right? You're
Yes.
yeah.
It's
and what are you a coach of?
I am a wealth and mindset coach, for lack of better words. I can coach many things on many things, be many things to many people. But, the biggest thing is being able to focus your mindset and setting your goals. And your mindset has a lot to do with where your goals are at. I'll break down what I call my ABCs of goals. And this may tick off a couple people, but I'm okay with it. And it all, they get through to the end and they'll understand what I'm saying. But most people, probably 95% of people, if they do have goals wrote down, most of them, they know how to get a goal. Like, you want a little bit bigger house than what you already have, but you've already bought a house before. Wanting that new house, I would say, is an A-type goal. You already know how to do it. It's something that you've done before, and so that's not, to me, it's a goal, and it's better than, a goal is better than no goal, is always, at least you have a spot on the map to aim towards. But the issue with that is that doesn't really give you a whole lot of inspiration to follow after that goal. So you can get distracted from it. You can get, it doesn't really make you grow a whole lot. So it doesn't really, and we're meant to be growing beings. I mean, that's, we're supposed to be growth. We're supposed to stretch ourselves and learn stuff all the time. So that's why an A-type goal, a lot of people, yeah, it's my goal, and they work towards it, and, they may eventually get it, but it causes them to slow down because they're not superly enthused by getting that goal. It's something they want, but it's more a want than a goal. And then next, what we have is what I refer to as a B-type goal. And B-type goals, they stretch you a little bit more. This is like but you still kind of know how to do it. You still, you're pulling this piece apart here. If I borrow this money from Aunt Susie, and, if my retirement account goes this way, and if Bob and Bill, if they decide to join up with me, we can get this. And it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's not much. It's like it's where you think you can get to. It's what's logical in your mind of where you want to get to. And I'll touch back on logic here in a second. Because doing what is logical is usually stupid. Most people, a lot of people want to argue with me over that, but it's like, look, logic usually, if you're trying to get somewhere, if you're trying to grow, logic's usually not what you want to follow. But the problem with the B-type goal is you're kind of in a no man's land there, because you don't have a whole lot of support for the people around you, because the sad part is that most of the people that are in your current group of people, especially when you're starting out, your current group of people, they want you to stay where you're at. So a lot of times your friends and buddies, unless they're groups of people that are, already ahead of you, if you're looking around and most of your friends are at the same level you are, you probably need to replace one or two of your friends to get you to a growth standpoint. But most of the time, your current friends, they don't really want you to even attain that B-type goal, because you're moving up to a different level than what they are. And, selfishly, we like to keep our friends close. It's just human nature. It's one of the things that we have to be aware of and be able to consciously think of and be able to offset that. But what I really like is a C-type goal. C-type goals really make you stretch. And when you C-type goals are something that, you know, you sit down and you're going, I can imagine that, but I don't know how to do it. But I really, really would want to do that. It's deep down. It's like, look, I have no idea how to do that. And I would have to be like just this next level person to be able to get there. But those are what goals really are meant for, because you have to stretch, you have to grow. You don't know how to do it. You know, and this a C-type goal, you know, if you know how to get there, it's not a C-type goal. C-type goals are meant for you to have to look and go, okay, how would life be if I was in that? And then you have to take yourself and you have to actually accept that you are in that spot, in that goal, that is where you're going, and get super excited for it. And then you kind of have to look back and focus on, okay, if I am this person, how did I get here? You know, what do I have to change? What knowledge do I have to get? What person do I have to become to get to that level? And the good thing is we don't have to get it all ourselves. We just have to figure out who has that knowledge and team up with them, you know, back to teamwork. I mean, you know, your C-type goals probably going to take some teamwork. You know, you're probably going to have to learn some things and, you know, partner up with people and get to that level. But your real need is that you have to really, really want it and probably not know how to get it. That's when you know that you have a C-type goal. And, you know, probably your C-type goal, when you sit down and really think about it, it's probably going to scare the living crap out of you on how to get there. If your goal doesn't make you a little nervous on how the heck am I going to do this, you probably need to really think about it and aim to that next level.
Interesting.
You know, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, it's very interesting. I agree with you. You know, if your goals aren't big enough, that really aren't goals. You know, there's just something you're trying to achieve, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, when you and to be able to focus on those C-type goals, you really have to have the mindset of, you know, just because it doesn't seem like it's logical, you know, this is where I was talking about logic. You know, most of this stuff, you know, people who are, you know, look, were the Wright brothers, were they logical for their time period? You know, were we, as, you know, JFK wanting to put a man on the moon, was that really logical thought? No. You know, whenever somebody has made huge gains in the world, you know, I'm pretty sure some people looked at Steve Jobs when he started talking about, you know, having an iPhone that, you know, I can record all over the world and, you know, show pictures. You know, people thought that was illogical. But, you know, if you have that type of goal, yeah, people are going to say it's illogical. But the good part is that you can really, you know, if you're going to grow, it's going to be illogical. You know, it's because, you know, if you had that C-type goal, you don't know how to get there. So it's going to, you know, people who have gotten places, they do things that are a little illogical.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So how would someone, so it's, you know, we talked about having the C-type goal is the type of goal you want to have to give yourself that type
Yes.
of goal. How do you make sure that your goal isn't too big, that you obviously want it big enough that you can attain, right? So, you know, if I was to say my goal is to run the 100 meters in 9.3 seconds, right? That's a great goal, but it's very unrealistic, right? Now, if I was to say that my goal is to run a marathon next year, you know, that would be a very tough goal for me, but it would be something I could attain. How can you make sure that, you know, you don't go over to the realm of impossible?
Most likely, if you really sit down and you're honest with yourself, you sit down and you look and you go, can I really see myself doing that? you know, is it Ed Hillary, or is it Hillary, you know, looking at, you know, getting to the highest summit on earth, you know, climbing, you know, he reaching the top of the earth, you know, it's being able to climb Mount Everest. You know, people thought that was crazy and it was illogical and you had to push it, but he could see himself up on that. You know, it's look, if you're a 45-year-old man and you want to be Super Bowl MVP, come on, you know that's not, you know, that's not in your physical makeup. But you know, if you're running a mile in 4 minutes and 10 seconds and you want to break that 4-minute barrier, it's like, look, it has to be able to be done. And you know, then you figure out how to do that. If you're really honest with yourself, you'll know whether or not you have that true goal, and whether or not it's attainable. You know, your imagination will let you know.
Yeah, I would agree. So now we've set an attainable but a very high standard goal. What would be the next steps from there? You touched on it earlier.
Really, I would say the next steps from there is to write it down and visualize what it would be like to be in that position. And then you have to kind of stop and think. And this is really where the magic happens, is there's exercises and stuff that you can go through, but you know, really it's just taking the time to write it down and to change your perspective of not from where I am at right now, but to change your perspective to the person who already has that. And you look back from that perspective and you'll see, you know, you might not see all the parts and pieces. It may take, you know, okay, I need to, you know, say it was, we'll go back to buying that house. It's like, look, okay, I want to buy this house, but first I need to get a hold of a realtor. And then, you know, you look and you go, okay, now that I have a realtor, I need to get a banker. And then you just kind of, you know, you start building your roadmap from there. But, you know, if you don't have that goal and you don't, you know, occupy that space of being able to look back on your goal, you know, you look back and you figure out how you got there. That's how you can start building the map to where you're at.
And I think the visualization that you mentioned is such a powerful tool. You know,
Definitely.
to visualize yourself having or being whatever your goal is, and truly believing and seeing that, acting like you have it, can be so powerful, because you've already got, at that point, you've already been there, you've already done it, you know, and now you can kind of build yourself to getting there.
and you can convince your subconscious mind, which this is a whole nother story, but you can, your subconscious mind, what you're doing is you're feeding them what you want your subconscious mind to work on, what it needs to focus on. And you know so much more than what you give yourself credit for. We all do. You know, it's all the fact that we can think and that we can form thoughts. You know, there's so much power there that when you visualize you being there, that's where you open up your mind to create the path to be able to get there.
Mm-hmm. And it's the old analogy, right, of the car, right? You go and buy a red car, or you go buy a Mercedes, whatever, you see that car everywhere. Beforehand,
Yeah.
you know, I've heard this analogy a lot of times, but it's so true. You'll see that car everywhere you go. So if you set yourself a goal of, and you focus in on something, say whatever it is, it's buying this house, you're going to see things that are going to take you to that goal all around you. Whereas before, you could have walked right past something. You know, you may pass a bank, and it might be, you might go in and talk to a lender, and that lender might be able to help you buy that house. Whereas before, you wouldn't have even seen the bank. You would have walked past it like nothing happened. But because you're aware of that, and you know, it's back to the car analogy, you'll see it everywhere all around you, where before it was always there, you just didn't see it.
Yeah, you put yourself on that vibration, and you're thinking on that vibration and on that plane, and that stuff has no, it has to come to you. When you're thinking on that level, you'll attract everything that you need to be able to get to that level.
Amazing. Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's really cool. So with your coaching and, you know, with your podcast, I'm guessing, do you mainly work with real estate investors and people who are in real estate? Or
I I fit really well with people who work in real estate, but no, the system and the program that I have been mentored in and that I mentor others in has been used in just about every industry across the world. I mean, one of my mentors, it's two partners, it's Bob Proctor and Sandy Gallagher, and the two of them, you know, they're about as opposite starts as you can get. One of them, you know, started on the bad side of the tracks, and the other one started on the good side of the tracks, was a lawyer, and then, you know, jumped into this profession. But I've been blessed to, you know, see them work in this program, work in just every field. I mean, in sales, which everybody's a salesperson, but in sales, in theater, in horse riding, and, you know, just fields that, you know, it's like, well, you know, is there really personal development and, you know, and stable riding? And it's like, yeah, there's personal development in everything. And, you know, most of us know how to get to that next level already within ourselves. It's being able to align ourselves and to be able to figure out that path in our head and be able to then, you know, take that encouragement and the couple butt kickings that a coach will give you to get moving down that path and be able to get to where you want, you know, the goals that you want to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Short answer is I work with mostly real estate people, but I'm not afraid to work with anybody. If you have a need, if you have a goal that you're trying to get to, I can certainly help you get there.
Great. Now, but going back to sort of the real estate investor, I think that could help a lot of people, because I'm sure that mostly the audience, people who have an interest in real estate, is what is the most common thing that you have to work through with people in real estate? What do you have to with more?
I would say probably the biggest thing is really just that mindset and having a goal big enough that they really get excited about. You know, it's the size of the goal and what you're really trying to shoot for. It's so important. You know, I can't think of who it is right off the top of my mind, but they said, you know, shoot for the stars, you may just land on the moon. You know, you have to have those high goals to make those quantum leaps to grow yourself from where you are to where you want to be. You're going to take illogical steps. You're going to do growth things that you didn't really think that you could do before. But, you know, it all starts with that mindset of believing that I can do that. I can get there. And then once you have that belief, once you have that idea, that thought in your mind, once you've created it in your head, then you can create it in reality. And it's getting people to create that in their head and get that mindset. And once you get that mindset, it's like rocket fuel. You know, you just take off once you get that mindset and a little bit of action. And it's like, it's just amazing where it'll go.
Yeah. Something I hear quite often from people who want to invest in real estate and haven't done it yet, and even the people who do, is that first deal is the most challenging to them. You know, they say the first deal is the most important one you do, whether it's successful or not, because it's that proof of concept that, oh, it wasn't that bad. And I feel a lot of people, they build it up. You know, the first deal, like so many times you'll hear people, they'll set up their LLC, their website, their business cards, you know, getting an email address, all this stuff, the business name, you know, logos, all that, before even talking to a real estate agent, you know, because I think it's easy for people to do those things because those things won't bite them. Those things won't hurt them, you know, but people get so scared of taking the action to take that first deal. You know, maybe talk a little bit about how you could help someone get into that first deal and get over that hurdle of being scared.
Well, the being scared, when you really have to have that mindset, because you have competing ideas. You have an idea of what you think you can do and where you've been programmed, you know, because you are where you are because you've been programmed to be there. And, you know, taking that next step, that's a change. You're changing your programming in your mind that you can do that. And it's being able to look at yourself and go, I trust in myself, and I can take this next step. You know, it's pushing through, it's going, look, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable, knowing that, you know, and that's usually what helps most people, is the fact that they realize that, okay, most people don't want to be uncomfortable. And once you accept that you're going to be uncomfortable, you start taking those actions. And when you start taking those actions, like you said, you know, it's like, oh, this isn't quite as bad. This isn't as scary. And, you know, and then once you start getting into that action, you get rolling. You know, it's that once you get through that first deal, the next ones just start falling like dominoes, because like you said, you have proof of concept. You've proven that this works and that you can get to that next level, and, you know, you just keep rolling from there.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, because I think that's definitely a hurdle that so many people face, and a lot of people never get over it. It's really sad. They'll study and they'll be involved in real estate, but they'll never get over that hurdle. And you know, the life of their dreams, or at least a better future, you know, it belongs in discomfort, right? It's so interesting you say that. You know, if the more time you can spend uncomfortable, you know, in the right kind of uncomfortable, doing things that
Definitely.
you know, the things you don't want to be doing, you know, the more you're going to grow and the more you're going to succeed, because on the other side of comfort lies all your hopes and dreams, I think, you know.
Definitely. You have to be able to step out and take that next step.
Yeah, very cool. So thank you for sharing that. So this show, you know, it's called Wrestling with Real Estate. So I always ask people some wrestling themed questions that go along with the real estate aspect of things. So firstly, what would be your wrestling name? If you had to come up with a wrestling name, what would be your
I'd probably go with Big Red, just because of the hair.
Okay, Big Red.
Yeah. Big Red, just because of the hair. I'll go with that.
Okay, sounds good. So Big Red, what would be your special move in real estate?
I'd say it'd be the pivot.
Okay.
You know, just because that is, you know, we all have things that come up, and we have to be able to change direction. And I think with the right mindset, you know, you just look at it and you go, okay, that's an opportunity to do something a little bit different. We'll change it up and we'll just go. And yeah, I'd say the pivot.
Okay. I think that's a huge strength, you know, because so many things never go as planned, or never, you know, you're never going to go in a straight line, right? It's never that case. So your ability to turn and change and go a different direction is a big strength. So cool. So
definitely.
All right. So Big Red, he has the special move that's a pivot. Has he taken any big body slams? What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in real estate or a coaching career, perhaps?
I'd say probably the biggest body slam was a deal that analysis paralysis, you know, froze me on. You know, not taking that step, and you know, that particular deal, just it was like a very distressed property, and it took off like a rocket, and the guys, you know, they made out like bandits, and, you know, not you know, letting analysis paralysis at that time freeze me. I'd have to say that was a big gut check. That was a body slam that was not very not very tasty at all.
So you ended up losing out on the deal?
Yeah. Because in action, I didn't jump in. You know, so I've you know, I coach on it, but you know, the reason I coach on it is because I've made those missteps. So.
Well, coaching usually comes the best coaches come from those who've made the mistake, right? Because you've been there and experienced. If you haven't experienced, it's not as easy for you to coach on it. The last question is, I think you've touched on it, but I'll ask you regardless, is, was there a moment you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it? Maybe it's
actually, it was, you know, that experience probably could be that, but I'll go positive on this. Yeah. Is my investing in hiring the mentors that I had. It was a huge chunk of change that I had to put down, you know, to pay for the mentors that I have. And it has been the best investment I've ever made. But yeah, I was nervous, and I am so thankful that my life is completely different and in such a different spot and it's a different place that I would have never been able to get where I'm at now if I'd not taken the time and, you know, the fortitude to go, look, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And, you know, it took a gut check to do that, but that would, you know, and it's turned out so well. You know, so that was probably the biggest moment of, you know, are you going to make this leap? And it's like, yes. And, you know, when you execute it perfectly and it's like, wow, that worked. That is worth it. That was, you know, that was definitely the one that I'm at this moment most proud of deciding to do, is to make that leap of faith. Just because of what I can do now and the knowledge that I've learned, it's just amazing.
Well, congratulations on that. I'm glad you got on the top rope and decided to jump. I'm glad, and very happy you worked out. So that's very cool.
Definitely.
Well, thank you for sharing everything today. You know, mainly about the goals, the A, B, and C type goals that people should be setting. You know, obviously focus on the C type goals, and you know,
Definitely.
how we make sure that that goal isn't too big, but at the same time that it's big enough. I think that will help, and along with, you know, helping people take action on their first deal and getting over that line of buying their first property. I think that information is invaluable to a lot of people and some stuff that they needed to hear. So thank you for sharing that today.
Definitely. And anybody can reach out, you know, if you want some tips and tricks, or, you know, just, you know, I do share some advice for free and, you know, kind of help push people in the right direction. You can always email me. It's real simple. It's david@reispotlight.com, all one word, reispotlight.com. And I'm happy to, you know, to help you out, you know, to kind of point you in the right direction. You know, I may not be the person that can help you, but, you know, let me know what you're trying to work through, because I've been at this for a while, and, you know, I may not be the person, but I probably know the person that can help you. So, you know, definitely reach out, you know, with any type of multifamily questions. And if I can't answer it, I can certainly push you in the right direction and give you a couple people who can help you out.
Great. So I was going to ask what the best place for someone to get a hold of is either through the email. Of course, you have your podcast again. Give that another plug.
That's REI Spotlight. It's real estate investing is what REI stands for. So it's REI Spotlight. It's on Apple, you know, Apple, Spotify. I think it's pretty much on everybody. So, you know, just look it up. There's a lot of information there. And like I said, you know, just email me. It's reispotlight.com for the show. Or again, like I said, on Apple. Or if you have any questions or anything that you'd like another set of eyes or something to look at, it's david@reispotlight.com. And I'll help you out as best I can.
Cool. I'll include both those links in the description, so whoever wants to find you, they can find you there. Thank you again for sharing and for giving us your time to share all the great knowledge that you have. I really appreciate it, and have a fantastic rest of your day.
No problem at all, man. Thank you again. Look to do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you, David.